On this episode of The Angle Show, we're going to be talking about a massive story about a former WWE champion set to debut at AEW All In. A very, very interesting story met with quite a bit of criticism, but also praise. We're gonna talk about it. First, we're going to talk a little bit about Nate Diaz. Yeah, this isn't a UFC channel, my friends, but Nate Diaz was offered to come into WWE to compete against Logan Paul, and honestly, I have no idea whatsoever what the actual plan is here. According to Zach Rosenfield, he was the president of Real Fight Inc., spoke with ESPN and let it be known that Nate Diaz, the UFC star, was presented with a very interesting and attractive offer to fight Logan Paul. And basically, Nate Diaz wasn't interested because it's WWE. The WWE came in and they wanted to take over the whole thing, and I'm like, I just got out of the UFC. Why am I going to sign with the WWE? I fight for real. I'm not going to be doing a real fight on a WWE card or no funny shit like that. Logan Paul also went on to say, you can still be a real fighter with the biggest sports organization in the world promoting your fight. It's a little lame to me, and I can definitely sell more tickets. I see what he's doing. I'm the harder fight. I'm the bigger brother. I'm the stronger brother. I'm the faster brother. Now, for those who don't know, Nate Diaz is going to be in a professional boxing fight against Logan Paul's brother, Jake Paul. That's going to be taking place roughly around the same time as WWE SummerSlam. And a lot of people are kind of torn. I think Nate Diaz is a hell of a UFC fighter, but I think a lot of people are undermining Jake Paul. I think Jake is actually a very good boxer. I think Jake Paul will knock out Nate Diaz. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But it is interesting to me because WWE obviously wants to be involved in the Logan Paul, Jake Paul business, right? They look at this influencer boxing stuff. They see these big events. They're getting tons of views, tons of pay-per-view buys. People are buying tickets. People are buying the pay-per-views. I mean, at the end of the day, they are good for business. Now, obviously, a lot of people aren't going to like Logan Paul and Jake Paul, which is why I think even more people genuinely have interest in watching it because people want to see them eventually lose. The idea that WWE would have put a professional fight on their show is a very interesting strategy because you don't want to alienate your current audience, but at the same time too, you do want to grow more fans. And WWE, it's all about PR, it's all about marketing, it's all about being out there in the public eye as the number one sports entertainment brand. And if you bring in Nate Diaz, a very, very, very successful UFC fighter, you bring him into the WWE against Logan Paul, it does make a lot of sense from a business perspective. Now, the real question is, how would have WWE gone about this? Would it have been an MMA fight? Would it have been a boxing fight? There's a lot of questions that need to be asked because then you got to worry about who's going to sanction the fight. Is it exhibition? Is it a fixed fight? Is it storyline? I mean, what is WWE's actual play here? And I think WWE, it could hurt WWE if they're trying to put on actual fights on their show because at the end of the day, they are a wrestling company. You know, if you want to do the one-offs, that's fine. But at the end of the day, WWE is scripted entertainment, and the goal is to put asses in seats and build up your stars. I feel like this fight would have taken a little bit away from that. But again, from a business perspective, it would have made sense. I just don't know how WWE would have went about it. And I'm not necessarily shocked that Nate Diaz doesn't want to do the fight in WWE. But also at the same time, too, when it comes to getting that attraction and the attention from the mainstream public, WWE is definitely a place to go. And this would have been really interesting. Guys, WWE's Kayla Braxton has announced that she is stepping down as the host of The Bump. On the latest episode today, Braxton actually revealed that this was her final episode as a host, but she will contribute from time to time to the show as a correspondent. And to be honest with you guys, I have no idea why this is being done. I don't know if this is a Kayla Braxton decision. I don't know if this is a WWE decision, but there's been a lot of great moments from Kayla Braxton and Paul Heyman. If you watch The Bump, I mean, literally Kayla Braxton and Paul Heyman have tons of clip-worthy content. This kind of sucks, you know, but also at the same time too, Kayla Braxton did reveal that Megan Morant will be taking over her position on The Bump. Megan Morant is another talented individual in the WWE. I think WWE has a plethora of people who are great at backstage interviews, hosting, all of these different things that they do. And it's very interesting to see what's next for Kayla Braxton. For her to step down from this position is a very interesting choice. I feel like the bump has become a really good show because of Kayla Braxton. Not that it's going to get worse with Megan Morant, because again, I think she's talented, but it's just an interesting choice overall. I think a lot of people are trying to speculate or dig a little too deep into this. Maybe there's some drama or this or that, whatever. I don't think that's actually the case, but it is interesting. Did WWE make this choice? Did she make this choice? Ultimately, the way that I view it, you got Jackie Redmond, you got Kathy Kelly, you got Kayla Braxton, Megan Morant. You have so many people that are really good at the announcing gigs for WWE. And I want to see WWE do more with them, and I think one thing that would be interesting, and I would totally be for this, I would love for WWE to launch a podcast with Kayla Braxton. Corey Graves has After the Bell, and I think he does a really good job with Kevin Patrick. I would love to see WWE start another show, this time with Kayla Braxton. That could be a really cool idea. Definitely going to be cool to see what happens, what's next. But the bump is changing. And guys, that brings us to our final story of today's video. We got to talk, didn't mean to do that. We got to talk about Rob Van Dam, because according to Fightful Select, it appears that Rob Van Dam could very well be debuting at AEW All In. Fightful Select reported that there has been internal discussions about possibly bringing in Rob Van Dam. One of the ideas that was mentioned to him is wrestling FTW champion Jack Perry at All In or All Out. None of this has been confirmed, but keep in mind, obviously, there is a storyline that is being done currently right now with Jack Perry, Jungle Boy. He's a heel. He's got something going on Dynamite tonight with Jerry Lynn. I'm not against this. Now, I see a lot of fans reacting to this on social media. One of the big things that a lot of people are saying is that, hey, while it's cool that Rob Van Dam could have the opportunity to show up at Wembley Stadium, there are a lot of people who haven't been used on TV. There are a lot of people who could benefit from being on the card. And naturally, there's going to be people left out. And I understand that criticism, because just like WWE, we're looking at SummerSlam. You have one of the most famous women's wrestlers of all time, Trish Stratus, and Becky Lynch, who is also going to be a Hall of Famer. You have them who built up a storyline for 4 months, and they're not going to be on SummerSlam. It's an interesting thing, right? And I totally understand why people are frustrated and why people are upset. But ultimately, I'm looking at Wembley Stadium as the biggest show in AEW history that can do a lot of great things for this company. There has to be some sort of sacrifice. And I think if you bring in Jack Perry against RVD and you have RVD put over Jack Perry, that is a really good idea. But you got to be fully committed to the Jack Perry heel turn, and that is going to be very, very, very interesting. A lot of people seem to reject his heel turn. I don't think it's that bad, but within time, we'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. Do you want to see RVD in AEW? I'm with it. Are you?